shitmypants.com.
Shit my motherfucking
Shit my pants. We can shit my pants. We can
shit your pants. I just shit my pants.
I didn't.
do.
I didn't.
Diarrhea.
Farting in a bucket. Oh, we need to get up.
There's your
Hey,
clip.
hey.
Was that filming?
That was.
That was recorded.
Clip it.
Just stopped your whole train of thought right there.
So,
Yes, what were you saying, Chance? Sorry. Our
I just got a
security
great
technical
idea from that comment that we got. We're going to start a OnlyFans fart in a bucket.
Make millions.
Only farts. Yeah. Only farts. The new website from fucking, what are we called? Over the Top.
Yeah. OTT brings you onlyfarts.com.
Onlyfarts.com, dude. It's nothing but
Yep.
Right in a bucket. I mean, it just
Hit the Cash App.
It just bellows from the bucket. Just you get. I bet you get a vibration from it.
Then you can
That's a bellowing
probably. Then
from
you
the
can probably. Then you could probably put a top on the jar and sell
And
it.
seal it.
Yep. And
we
then
used to
sell
fart.
it.
We used to fart in jars too.
Yeah, I've heard. Yeah, I
We
remember
farted in jars. We had fart tapes. I told Mel all this the other night, and she didn't leave me. So
Dude,
that's
we
cool.
made it on a baseball trip where we had the vans that we take on the baseball trips and everything. You remember the Gatorade
yeah.
bottles that have the twist top? That,
Oh, yeah.
So we made a guy legit puke off of one of the guys farted in one of the water bottles, and then he was asleep in the back of the van and let
Opened
it sit. No, not just opened it. He cracked it and it just went in just.
Oh, that's another
It was
level
just
of
straight
sick.
indigestion of a fart, and then he had to puke in one of the bigger Gatorade bottles in the van while going down the interstate.
I mean, dude, we used to make. I had we had cassette tapes, side A, side B,
Fart
of
tapes.
fart tapes. Anytime was when we had a recorder. It was like you get
talk
play and
boy.
record at the same time. And you'd be like, "Hey, I got a fart, and then you'd run up to it, and we were like, I was 12 and my brother was like 9.
Fart mix.
And then you would put your cheeks up against the speaker, and then it would be brrr, and then it would be we'd laugh, ah,
You
and
need to
then it would
send
go
that-
to the next one.
Send
how
it
many-
to
how
Dub
long-
and let them sample it if you still got one around.
How long of recordings could you get out of those tapes back
You
in
get
the day?
60 minutes on it that week.
Can you imagine how many farts that were?
Dude, there were so many. There were sometimes when we would go hit record, and then we'd get up to it, and it would be a dud. And we'd be like, "Motherfucker!" Then we get mad at each other.
Can you only imagine if your mom came across the tape recorder and
Dude,
it was a misfire on a fart, and you hear just a little chatty back there. Damn it!
one of us, I can't remember.
Or a
I don't know
shark
if it was-
situation.
It was me or my buddy farted in a jar and kept the lid on it for over a week, and we made my brother smell it like a week later. And he almost vomited. But,
Poor younger brothers, man. Poor
Shout out to Cameron.
Between poor Cameron and Taylor, the
Yeah.
torment that they went through as little brothers, probably.
But shout out to fart tapes, dude. Bring them back. Hashtag. Or I guess you could just fart into your notes on your phone now. And just send
How's
them.
that for a sound check?
Sound shit. Oh, are we going? Shit. Bow! What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Chad Arms, a.k.a. Chatty Bobby 1140.
My name is Tony, a.k.a. Friday the 14th.
And I'm Hot Mike Chance. Hit the Cash App.
Wow, man. Came in hot there for a second. Hence the name.
I just chipped my tooth with my cross on my necklace.
You okay?
man.
What,
it's
what were you
fine.
doing over there?
I was trying to
couldn't
floss my
see.
Dominique Wilkins jersey.
One of the
and I
greatest
almost chipped the
dunkers of
tooth.
all time.
One of the greatest dunkers of all time. Is that what you just said?
I did.
It's exactly what you just said.
Him
Shut up.
and Spud. Can you imagine him and Spud Webb on the same team back in the day?
Dude, Kevin Willis, Stacey Augman had a good crew over there in Atlanta.
Okay,
Look,
I didn't know we were going that deep with it.
you had John Concac off the bench.
What?
We're going to throw a picture up. Boom.
I have no idea who John Concac is.
I can't wait to
Really?
look back on the footage. That cross, everybody had chipped my tooth. I
You may have to slow-mo it down just like to catch the whole
Dude, I went like this, and the cross jumped out the gym and went boom.
bam. I'm surprised we didn't hear a little tink-tink.
The tink tink, you know what I'm saying? Shout out.
But man, how in depth of Atlanta Falcon, early '90s Atlanta Falcons, Atlanta Hawks, roster depth right there.
Oh, dude. I mean, yeah.
I know you had the baseball roster depth stored up there in the Rolodex.
It's like that. It was like that for football, basketball, and baseball back then.
Oh yeah, it's just because of all the card collecting.
The card collecting, absolutely 100%.
Yeah.
We're back, guys. Episode 36 of Over the Top with Chad, Tony, Chance, BJ, and the Viz. You know what I'm saying?
Woo!
Thank y'all for all the support. Hopefully, when this uploads, we'll be at 300 subscribers. Now, remember, last episode, shout out to everybody that checked out the Child's Play franchise episode.
Yes, thank y'all.
When we did that one, when we filmed that one a week ago, we hadn't even hit 200 yet. So, y'all are killing it, man. Let's keep going. We're going to try to get to 1,000 and then build from that.
Yeah, I mean, in the channel, wow, this is being shown right now. The channel is only 2 weeks old, and it's growing rapidly, and it's all thanks to y'all. We appreciate it.
No, for sure, man. We're back with another episode for wrestling fans.
Yes.
Go ahead.
BJ's not able to be here today. We were scheduled to
He's
do
super busy right now.
Yes, super busy.
DJ and stuff.
We were scheduled to do a Survivor Series episode today, so we're pushing that to the first week of December with BJ because he absolutely, once again, killed it on the notes section.
Yeah, so it'll be like Survivor Series is November-ish, but it'll be fine. We'll
yeah, and I think, like me and Chance were talking about, I think it'll be right after Survivor Series anyway, so it'll work out for perfect timing and everything. So
cool.
But since we're right here in November, Thanksgiving's a big family time for everybody, so we thought we'd talk about wrestling families today.
Absolutely.
I mean, you have a ton of influential wrestling families,
right,
spread throughout all the days of wrestling, all the days.
Yeah, all the days. So there's so many families on this. What we're going to do is this will probably end up having to be a two-parter. Part 2 we'll probably have to do down the road.
Yeah.
The list that we have is way more than we're going to be able to do in one episode, so we're probably going to split it in half.
Yeah, especially with some of these families that are right here off the get-go. I mean, these are huge families in the wrestling world that have made a huge influence.
Yeah, for sure. Let's get right into it, but before we do that, y'all be sure to hit the sponsors up. Trouble Spirits, Revolution 1 Media,
Nixon Pro Media,
and
The Natural Disasters.
Whammy.
Mullet-sized, right? I went complete. I was going to say natural disasters, but it just left me.
I got you back.
Yeah, thank you, Shane.
Yeah,
I'm glad you actually had my back on this one because if you've been following the YouTube channel and all that stuff, Chad has been posting a ton of the reels and everything. Mm-hmm. And one of my favorite reels that we posted is the chronological order episode where
yeah, you struggled with that word.
I struggled mightily, but there was a chance.
No pun intended.
No pun intended of Chance giving me some backup on that one. But in the words of Chance, he says, but I choose not to.
He wanted no smoke.
He wanted
zero smoke-ola.
None to help. I think that's because of the bad talking of H2O, though.
Well,
and candy corn.
H2O's not
speaking
good.
of candy corn,
yeah.
This brings me back to another topic before we get this episode started. So I'm scrolling through. Everybody has like their hip town, like where everybody gets on Facebook, where everybody talks crap on their town and what's going on, events and people posting stuff.
I'm posting
Somebody's
about
dog
you right
got
now.
loose.
Somebody's dog got loose. There's a
you.
traffic problem going on.
Why is the wait time so long at the local Sonic?
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. That's
but
just
on Hip Mount Juliet, they posted the other night, and I had to send a picture to the both of them.
right here it's bam boom.
But at the local Kroger in Mount Juliet, they had a grocery cart full of candy corn, and you know what the sign said on it? Free candy corn.
Couldn't give it away, Chance.
Let me tell you why.
No, Chance, you said it was photoshopped. It's not.
Let me tell you why.
Tell me, Chance. Tell me one logical
I believe
reason.
it was either photoshopped or they know the most depressing time of the season, Christmas, is coming up, so they wanted to.
That's blasphemy.
They wanted to give everyone some free candy corn so that
But
they would
nobody
be in the spirit.
took it.
But nobody. It was a.
You got there. It was,
Even by that theory.
They got there
which is
early.
an insane theory.
They
for
got
you to
there
say.
early.
You said Christmas time is the most depressing time of the year.
Blasphemy.
That is blasphemy. January is the most depressing
It
time
is.
of the
Yeah,
year.
that's
After
true.
Christmas is the most one-tabulous time of the year. I can't wait. One-tabulous. Shout out. Spell it. Nope. Not going to.
No
But
chance.
Candy. Shout out Candy Corn.
Couldn't give it away.
Couldn't give it away.
People were full. I mean, they had probably had so much candy corn during the Halloween season that they were just full.
I've never, other than you, I've never seen anybody eat candy corn.
No, we're gonna get shout out KWB.
It makes a good
Catherine.
stocking stuffer.
Shout out Catherine. He's loaded up on it. She's a big candy corn fan, evidently. We found that out in the chat. So there's other fans out there of it, which
I
makes
think
no
y'all
sense to
two are
me.
the only haters. I think, but that's just me.
Yeah. Wrestling families, guys. We're
right
gonna
into
we're gonna
it.
have to boom right through these because there's.
A bunch.
Let's just start it off with the family of all families, the McMahon family.
Yes, you have to. I mean, that's probably the most famous wrestling in none other than Shane and Stephanie. None of them were really wrestling. Well, Vince Jr. attempted to,
Oh,
but that's also the same man that tore both quads just trying to get into the ring.
Royal Rumble 2005. Yeah, I'll never forget it.
But Vince McMahon Sr. probably one of the names that's most famous for wrestling out there as a promoter and all that with the WWF. It wasn't that's how it was called at first.
Yep. Actually, his dad also, Jess McMahon, was a promoter and started in 1915.
I did not know that.
Boxing, and
Okay.
I think he was a boxing and wrestling promoter.
So say they just bleed wrestling, man.
Yeah.
Vinnie
And
Mac Sr., Vinnie Mac Jr. I mean,
And
now he looks like a mob boss in like Grand Theft Auto now.
yeah, that little mustache that he's got going on.
He looks like he's slowly melting away. Have y'all seen him lately?
Yeah, dude, that little clip. Did you see that clip of him and the Undertaker at some
Yes.
event, dude? It's
McMahon looks like a wax figure of him.
yeah.
Now I know he's almost 80, but
It seems like his age is. I mean, is shown more that he's been away from the WWE now.
yeah, for sure.
But I guess it comes back to one of those things when you're so involved in everything.
It was keeping him young.
Exactly.
He was
Well,
moving
and
probably a lot more and
Yeah.
just keeping his mind sharp.
Well, that's what a lot of people say too. Like a lot of people say, like when you retire from your, jobs that you've been there for years and years and years, it's like you've lost part of your, not will to live, but like what sparks you.
Yeah,
You know?
like a motivation to get going every day and all that stuff.
Yep.
And as busy as he was being in control of the WWE, I mean, it's got to be a huge setback from being on the go all the time to being in control of nothing. Because now that the WWE sold, I don't think he has absolutely no ties whatsoever to it now, does he?
I think he's still a member of the board on
That's crazy that he does not own it anymore.
Endeavor or TKO
Okay.
Sports or whatever that entity is called now.
Yeah, and Stephanie has nothing to do with it.
So they really like legit sold sold it completely.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
crazy.
it like merged. It merged with UFC basically, but under the same umbrella. They're under the same company.
And SmackDown's moving back to to another night now too.
I think
now
so. Yep. And I think networks and everything.
Yeah, and Raw's moving networks in there. I think they're no longer going to be under the USA Network and everything now. Raw's moving from the USA Network.
A lot of big changes.
Yeah.
But
you also, with Vince, you had Linda McMahon that was prominent for a long time. Mm-hmm. Probably one of the worst storylines when she was the whole mute stage with her.
In the wheelchair. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that was bad. And she took the worst stunners out of anybody. You had Shane, which a huge influence. And Stephanie probably more than anybody out of the family other than Vince.
I never could stand Stephanie.
The character Stephanie, not so much, but the behind the scenes stuff, I respected more of.
No, I'm talking about like her character. But she was
the
supposed to be
character
annoying.
Steph.
That's
Yeah,
that's what it's supposed to be like.
her stuff with Jericho was good. I like their stuff.
yeah.
And then of course you got Triple H, who's married to Stephanie, as part of the McMahon family.
Yep.
The son-in-law. So what's Triple H's deal? What is he?
I think he's pretty much running the day-to-day operations for the WWE now.
Okay, so he's still involved.
Oh yeah, he's major involved, especially because I think that was a big thing for Dana was keeping Triple H around to pretty much run everything.
But they said that UFC, I guess, is doing something with the Saudis, and Vince kind of brokered that deal for him,
okay.
and made all that happen.
They're just making billions and billions, bro. But yeah, like I said, the McMahon family is one of the first families you think about, and we're gonna have to power through these pretty quickly because there's so many of them.
Yeah.
But
We'll get as many as we can in the time we can.
yeah,
Because it's maybe more than 2 episodes.
yeah. Then of course you got the Hart family.
Yep.
Stu, founder of Stampede Wrestling.
This would be a whole hour in itself.
Yeah. SOB, man. He used to stretch a lot of the talent down there in the basement, in the dungeon.
Yeah. Yeah, I could. Yeah, I can imagine having that as my dad just beating the hell out of you.
Well, and not only that, of course, his son Brett, and his son Owen, R.I.P. Owen Hart, but 2 of the greatest wrestlers ever.
Yeah.
And all the daughters of his married wrestlers, and the sons wrestled. Of course, Jim the Anvil was married to Stu's daughter Ellie.
Yeah. And he had the daughter. Natalia is, of course, his daughter, which is wrestling, right? Good gosh.
Booger Throat Indian, guys.
Jeez, let me get some leader.
Welcome to Tennessee.
Liter of Kool-Aid, dude. Steinberg Crusher.
Yeah, it was 80 degrees on Monday, and now we're back in the 50s again all of a sudden.
Who knows? Who knows what will be tomorrow?
Yeah, exactly.
And of course, Davy Boy, British Bulldog, was married to Stu's daughter Diana.
Mm-hmm.
And then you had Tyson Kidd, who was married to Stu's granddaughter Natalia.
Yep.
Did he ever wrestle again after he had that neck injury?
I don't think so. I think he was working as a trainer for a little bit, I believe, and then now I don't think he has anything to do with the WWE.
I don't know. I don't know what he.
Don't hold me to that, but as far as I know, the last thing I knew he was doing WWE wise was just training down in Orlando.
Yep.
Yeah, and then of course, there was some other. You had Smith. Like Smith Hart and Bruce Hart, like some of the guys that was, they didn't wrestle much in the WWE, but they were wrestlers in Stampede. And I think for one Survivor Series, I think they all wrestled as like a team.
No, the Dynamite Kid wasn't.
No, I think he was trained by him, but
he was just trained.
And then there's Harry Smith, which is British Bulldog's son. Also,
does he still do anything?
I don't know. I seen him around and about.
Was he the one that was like in New Japan?
Yeah,
MLW.
I think
and stuff
so.
Like that. Okay, I think he's still doing some stuff.
Yeah.
He may be in New Japan, but I think he may be. Yeah, I think in Japan.
And then is Teddy Hart also? Hart is.
He wrestled for a little bit, and then his story is a little crazy. There was a documentary, I think, on
a wild card, man.
Yep.
I think there's a documentary either on Netflix or something about him and being tied to numerous women going missing and stuff like that.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
it's pretty crazy.
Yeah, and he's probably the most athletic Hart out of all of them.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's batshit crazy. Who knows where he may be in jail right now?
Yeah,
probably. But the Hart family is one of the most iconic families in wrestling. Period.
Oh yeah.
With the longevity that Brett had, and how great Owen was until he died way too early, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then of course, just the ones that was married in to the family, but Stu you can't speak wrestling without the Hart family at all. This next one, same way. Yeah. How do you pronounce the last name?
Is it Annoy?
Is it Annoy?
I think so. Annoy. I'm not 100% sure.
The Rocks family.
Yes. We are from Nashville, Tennessee, so you'll have to...
We're good at pronunciations, dude.
Yeah.
Annoy. You know what I'm saying? Okay. That was pretty good.
I was trying to do my little Timon and Pumbaa thing from the Lion King.
Shout out to Timon and Pumbaa. Yeah.
But I completely lost the words to it. But we'll go with, I think, Annoy.
Sure. That'll work.
Sounds great.
Yep. You got Peter Maivia, Hachi Peter Maivia, the patriarch of the family, the guy that got it started for all of them.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, you had the Rock's pops, Rocky Johnson, R.I.P., married to Peter's daughter, Ada Maivia, of course, father of the Rock. Then you had the Wild Samoans, who were 2 badass sons of bitches, man. Afa and Sika. And they did a lot. They trained a lot of the talent too.
Yeah.
After they was done wrestling, but they punished the shit out of people, man.
Tales of the Territory had a whole episode about the whole the Noi fan, the whole Hawaiian territory and all that stuff. That was really good. They got into depth about this whole family, about all these big name wrestlers when they come over to Hawaii would pretty much stay at their house and everything. Like Andre the Giant and the Rock's show, Young Rock, ain't that what it's called or something? Yeah. They have a bunch of episodes where everybody's like congregating over to their house after the show and everything. Everybody, Sheik, all that would come to their house.
Yeah.
As a get together after the shows and everything. Just shows how much that family, especially in the territory days, how much that family meant to everybody. They'd make it out of their way to go over to the island to bring money for that territory. No,
absolutely. Yeah, and then obviously the Wallace Samoans were great. You had Yokozuna.
Yeah.
Rodney, R.I.P. to Yokozuna.
Which, as a younger kid, I would have never thought that he was part of them. I was blown thought that he was Japanese.
Yeah, and that's what's so crazy about
he's completely sold the
Vince
gimmick.
Would put on people, man.
Yep.
He had people thinking Yokozuna really was Japanese.
Yeah.
And of course, Roman Reigns, who's still on top of WWF right now, WWE. Joe Anoa'i, Joseph. Then you got the Usos, Jimmy and Jay.
Yeah.
Which were Rikishi's sons. And what's the other guy that's in there now?
Solo.
Is that their younger brother?
Mm-hmm.
Golly, man, it's just the bloodline never stops, bro.
Yep.
And that was a good gimmick that they had going right now. Was the bloodline, because it was a true bloodline going through with everything.
Yeah, and then of course you got Rikishi.
Yep.
Yeah.
Who
dimple butt,
who was Fatu back in the day, and then Rikishi always was one of my favorite big men. I mean, for a big dude. He wasn't near as big as Yoko. He could legit move, man.
Oh yeah.
I loved his finisher where he would drop him down. It was like the sit down pile driver kind of thing. That shit was dope, man.
Yeah.
Yep.
But shout out to the Anoa'i family, man. And of course, The Rock's daughter, is she going to be doing wrestling too?
Yeah, she's already in NXT. I don't know if she wrestles or if she's just a manager, but I think she's going to be. I'm sure she'll be coming up eventually. But also the Rock's grandmother, Leah.
Yeah.
She was a promoter and everything. Also,
she was. Yeah,
she's pretty much that ran the show.
Yeah, she ran the show. In that territory.
Yep.
Yeah. So it's again another family that's the bloodline from a wrestler standpoint, especially.
I think Nia Jax is part of.
She's a cousin of The Rock.
Oh yeah. Is she still doing stuff?
Yep. I think she just came back to WWE. So.
Gonna start hurting people again.
Yeah.
Every time she comes back, some girl on the roster gets hurt.
She's so much bigger than all the other female wrestlers, bro.
She brutalizes them.
Next up, you got another legendary fam. You got the Guerreros.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man.
Started off the patriarch of the family is Gory Guerrero.
Yep.
Which I'm not familiar with him really.
I'm not too familiar with
The
you.
Gory Bomb.
Mondo Guerrero. Of course, Chavo, I know. Chavo Sr.
Yep.
Hector and Eddie. R.I.P. Eddie Guerrero.
Yeah.
That's
Then
obviously the most known.
Yep. Chavo Jr. And, yep.
But the Guerreros, man, the ones that we know the most, obviously, were Eddie and Chavo because that's just our generation.
Yeah.
And both super talented guys. Eddie's another one that passed way too soon. I think he was just getting to the peak of where he could have been.
Yeah.
And I think if he was still around, he would be somewhere
as one of the greats of all time.
Creative for somebody.
Yeah.
Because he knew the art of wrestling, but he also knew like storylines, and he had the charisma. And Chavo was a great. I don't want to say he was a role player because Chavo was like a
he was a great. He was a mid carder.
He's a great mid carder.
He was a solid mid carder.
And like perfect example that Eddie would probably be creative because Chavo is.
Yeah.
Or was. I don't know if he still is. I'm sure he is somewhere.
And I think Chavo has something to do with the new Iron Claw movie that's coming out by 8/24 about the Von Erich family.
We can get into that right now. The Von Erichs.
Yeah, I think Chavo has something in behind the scenes and everything with that movie.
I'm excited to see that one, man.
Dude, I am pumped
good.
for that movie.
I've watched every documentary that I think is out on the Von Erichs. I've watched them multiple times, and it's so sad because the Von Erich, obviously, the patriarch of the Von Erichs was Fritz.
Yeah.
And then you had Kerry, Kevin, David, Mike, and Chris.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And the only one alive is Kevin.
Kevin's the only one. And all of them died tragically or committed suicide.
Yeah.
Except for Kevin's the only one that's still alive. He's got two sons, Marshall and Ross.
Yep.
They're beast, bro.
Yeah,
are they wrestling too?
Yeah, they're. I forget what. They're in a small promotion, but yeah, they're a tag team right now. with each other. But I think they both go barefoot like Kevin did back in the day as well.
That's cool.
Like watching those stories, especially the one that they just did on, last year, a year before that or whatever, on
Dark Side of the Ring.
Dark Side of the Ring.
Yeah.
It's just so sad, man. Seeing how many of them killed or unalived themselves, however you have to say it for YouTube.
Yeah. It's tragic. I mean, it's
sad, man.
It's one of the most tragic stories in all of wrestling, but it's crazy to see those old videos of how influential and how big they were down in Texas. I mean,
they ran Texas, bro.
Yeah, I mean it's everybody said, especially the wrestlers that we look up to now that were growing up when they were going on and everything, especially in the southern regions, with them and the Freebirds going at each other, it was something magical. It was before its time.
Yeah,
and everything. They were getting pops like you'd get today.
They were like the Jacksons, bro.
Yeah,
they were like Michael Jackson and all his family, Jackson 5, or like the Beatles, bro.
Yeah.
I mean, they were they were that popular in the wrestling world. Like it was just crazy, man. It's such a sad, tragic, story.
But that's probably one of my most anticipated movies of the year, and it comes out, I think, December 22nd. It's called The Iron Claw. A24 is putting it out. The cast, Zac Efron's in it.
Which Von Erich does he play?
Is it Carrie? I think that he's not playing Carrie.
I'm not sure.
I think he may be playing. I mean, but he's yoked out in it, and then MJF is in the movie as well. It's got an unbelievable cast. The guy that's playing Fritz, he was on the show Mindhunters that was on Netflix. He was one of the main guys on there.
Yeah. Zach is playing Kevin.
Okay, yeah.
Yep.
And then,
yeah, I'm looking forward to that movie, man, especially with it being right at the end of 2023, so it'll be able to get on the list, because we're going to do our 2023 movie rankings. Probably it'll be a January episode for sure. But yeah, the Von Erichs, man, they're a legendary family with just such a tragic turn of events with them. But one of their rivals, was Ric Flair. So we can talk about the Flair
just
family.
run right into that.
Ric Flair, the most legendary wrestler ever, arguably. Two-time WWE Hall of Famer. Of course, you got his daughter Charlotte, or Ashley Flair, but Charlotte Flair is her wrestling name.
Yep.
And then of course she had Reed, who passed away.
Yep.
And David Flair.
Then her his daughter is married to Conrad Thompson also.
Oh,
yeah. Shout out.
Yep.
They are married.
And Charlotte's married to what's his name, Andrade?
Andrade, yep.
Yeah, that's with AEW.
Yep.
What's Rick's daughter's name that's married to Conrad? It's
Megan.
Megan. Yeah, that's right. Megan. She never was in the business as far as wrestling, but
I don't even think she'll really watch it.
Yeah.
Conrad said she won't even really watch
Probably
it. That
not,
much.
especially because think about that. Her dad was Ric Flair.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And now she's married to the most popular podcaster in the wrestling world.
Yeah.
Who's got 117
podcast.
Podcast with every big
and
name.
he's great at. I love Conrad.
Oh, he's found his calling.
Awesome.
I got to be honest though, he got so many of them now. I can't even keep up with any of them. I watch clips from Shivani's and clips from Pritchard's, the two OG ones that I used to watch, but all the other ones, it's just so much to try to keep up with. And he don't even do most of them.
Yeah, and Conrad, the first podcast that I remember Conrad from is when Ric Flair had his first podcast and everything that he helped him, and I think that's probably what got him in the leads with Megan.
Yep.
No, probably. But
So
And got him hooked up with a lot of the podcasts that he's doing now.
Yeah, because it's crazy how many he has.
No, man, it's dope though. He's set up something really cool.
I don't think he was selling life insurance there, mortgages.
Yeah.
He don't think he even does that anymore, does he?
Yeah, he still does it.
He still does it.
Yep.
I don't know how.
Jeez, how does he have time for that?
Next up, man, you got another legendary family, the Funks. You had Dory Sr., who's the patriarch of the family. And of course, he had two sons, Dory Jr. and Terry.
Goats.
And R.I.P. Terry Funk. We lost him a few months back. One of the most iconic wrestlers of all time.
And 80s action movie side characters.
For sure. Roadhouse shout out, Over the Top shout out. Mr. Cutler wants a word with you. You know what I'm saying? But another one in here that you didn't put, Hoss Funk.
Uh-oh.
I'm sure Hoss probably wasn't really we need BJ here for this one.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think Hoss Funk was in fact an actual funk, but I could be wrong. But Dory and Terry obviously are the ones that we know mainly Terry.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because Dory was a little older. But some of the most badass dudes in wrestling, man.
Yeah.
Terry Funk is probably the toughest
Son of a bitch.
wrestler in the history of wrestling.
Yeah.
Up there with probably Haku.
And especially watching like from Beyond the Mat when he's right there with ECW and he's doing that at that age just to put over other guys.
Sure.
And then they put the title on him as an appreciation thing because he was putting so many guys over.
Yep.
Yeah.
At that age, it's just insane. Did you see where Viavision's putting out Beyond the Mat on Blu-ray finally?
No, but I'll get it.
Yeah,
For sure.
one of the greatest wrestling documentaries ever made.
Look at him. He's going to puke.
Yeah.
He's going to puke. R.I.P. Darren Drozdoff.
I wanted to be a professional wrestler until I seen that documentary.
Really? Yeah.
I gave up. I was like, no. Jake the Snake Roberts' part in that documentary.
It's tough.
And seeing how hard it was for Terry Funk to get up out of bed, I was
Yeah.
like, no.
Yeah, and that was in the late 90s, bro. He
Yep.
wrestled for another 10 years after that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And the whole Mankind thing, or the whole Mankind I Quit match with The Rock, where he
watching
just
his kids watching it's hard to say.
and then just seeing after the match where he's just sitting there like after all those chair shots he took to the head,
It's insane.
and
to think
he's
that's
just
how
sitting
the
there
world was.
just like he's sitting there with his kids.
Yep.
And
Like
Yeah.
another
it's
day at the office.
Yeah, another day at the. It's just wild to me.
Yeah. Next up, we got the Rhodes family.
Oh,
Which
yeah.
Another great one. Obviously, Dusty was the patriarch, or Virgil Runnels. And then, of course, his son, Dustin Rhodes, Gold Dust,
Yep.
had so many different monikers in different, federations, but everybody knows him mostly as Gold Dust.
Yeah.
And then, his other son, Cody, is still
Still
doing
rolling.
that
And it will be the WWE champion. I think probably at WrestleMania
Soon.
next year.
Yep.
I think they're gonna roll till WrestleMania next year, and it's gonna finally happen.
Big build up.
Because he's got the tag titles now. He's running with the tag titles now. But
If they're smart, what they do is night one they put LA Knight and Cody Rhodes against each other, and the winner goes on to face Roman Reigns, and then something happens, and it ends up being a three-way dance.
I'll tell you, nobody's hotter than LA Knight right now.
Yep.
The pops that he's getting. Have you seen any of that?
I've seen some of it. Yeah,
Dude,
I haven't seen
he
him
is-
wrestle. But
I guess him and Roman have a match at Survivor Series for the title, and it's been a pretty decent little build-up for that one.
Yep. But I think also with the Rhodes family or the Runnels family, you could put some asterisks by Brandy Rhodes and then Terry Runnels.
Yeah, that's true too.
oh yeah, because you have Marlena.
Yeah.
And
Brandy Rhodes.
and Brandy Rhodes, which is Cody's wife.
Yep.
For sure.
But you have to respect, like Dustin's career has been it's incredible.
Does he still wrestle?
Yep.
Yeah, he's
That's insane,
off and
yeah.
on for AEW, but it's just,
It's insane.
and he's gotten better with age. He's gotten better. I think he's gotten a lot better since he's gotten clean and everything. But and you can definitely tell when he made that change. But I mean, it's incredible to see him still go at the age he is.
Yeah.
Because we were seeing him in the early '90s on Saturday night or WCW main events.
Mm-hmm.
Main events.
Saturday night.
Saturday night.
Yeah, Saturday nights.
Yep.
With wrestling in cowboy boots.
Yep. Shout out Cowboy Boots.
Yep.
Next up, you got the Rotunda / Wyndham family. This is a family full of really talented guys. You had the patriarch of that one was Blackjack Mulligan,
Man.
Robert Wyndham.
Yep.
And then, of course, you got Mike Rotunda, who was married to Robert's daughter, Stephanie. Now, Mike Rotunda is also IRS.
Yep.
That's who I remember him from because of WWF. But obviously, he was big in WCW before that. And then, of course, Barry and Kendall Wyndham, they were the sons of Blackjack Mulligan, correct?
Yes.
Getting this right? Barry Wyndham, one of the greatest workers.
Yeah. He's
in
right there with
wrestling.
Dustin Rhodes. Them two I compare very similar to each other.
Mm-hmm.
that could go. They were pretty big guys that could absolutely go, and they had the blonde mullets back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
No, they definitely did. They was rocking them mullets for
Yeah.
sure. And then, of course, Mike Rotunda's two sons. You had Bray Wyatt, rest in
R.I.P.
peace,
Yeah.
and Bo Dallas, which Bray Wyatt and Bo Dallas are actually Wyndham Rotunda and Taylor Rotunda.
Mm-hmm.
Bo didn't seem to have as much of the Bray Wyatt. I mean, he had charisma coming out of his ears. Bro.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he
The
could carry
dude was the
any
most
kind of
charismatic guy, one
Yeah.
of them. Bo Dallas, not so much. He was a good worker, it seemed like, but
He
he
could
just
go in the
didn't really
ring,
have-
just couldn't grasp onto the right gimmick.
yeah, because his gimmicks were like the super
Bo Lee.
corny.
Yeah, everybody,
Yeah,
Bo
Lee.
Leave.
Yeah, Bo Lee.
But he could go though in the ring, but he just the right gimmick.
I think was it confirmed that he was the Uncle Howdy character?
I can't confirm
Yep.
that one or not.
I don't know, but I think they were working on something big
Now,
whenever
is he
Bray
still,
Wyatt.
is
went
he
out.
still under the WWE? Is he?
I don't think so.
Is he not?
No,
I can't.
no.
tell.
They're talking about bringing him back for a gimmick to kind of be like a tribute to Bray Wyatt. They're
Yeah.
going to bring the Uncle Howdy character back, but I don't know if he was the one that was under it the whole time.
I did see. I think has it been confirmed like the next WWE game? I think it's centralized around
Yeah, I
Bray
think-
Wyatt and everything,
Mhm.
going through his career.
Yep.
That'll be pretty cool.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's
I haven't played a WWE game in forever since what was the Stone Cold edition where you played through his career and
Yeah.
everything.
I think the last one I played was WWE 2K20, maybe 2K19.
I played last year's. It was good.
Was it?
Well, the last one that
I know for
latest
a couple
release.
years there it was like super glitchy
Yeah.
and they were having huge problems with it.
Yeah,
I
they.
may try to play it this year. I haven't played it. Can you play like old style? I'm sure you can.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably.
Have you played the AEW game?
Mm-mm. No.
Next up, you got the Orton family, man. Bob Orton Sr., obviously, and then of course his son Cowboy Bob Orton Jr.
Yep.
Was known, for his WWF days, WrestleMania 1.
Yep.
And then his son is one of the greatest wrestlers of all time.
Yeah, he'll go down as like a top. You got to put Randy up there on. I don't know about Mount Rushmore, but he's got to be one of the greatest of all time.
I mean, you could argue Randy Orton is a Mount Rushmore guy if you're just
Depending on like generation, like a time, like in a
Definitely like the ruthless aggression
Yeah,
era, like the
and
newer
era.
era, John
I mean,
Cena era.
Yeah, that era, he's definitely in there. I mean,
Yep.
you're talking Randy Orton. The Mount Rushmore to me of that era is Randy Orton, John Cena, Brock Lesnar, and Batista.
yeah.
They all came out of
completely
the
agree.
same class.
That's
it's
insane
crazy,
to think
man.
about.
But Randy Orton he's one of the best ever. He never switched. He's been WWE the entire time. He's never went anywhere else. Just like Shawn Michaels.
Yeah.
Same thing.
And been able to go back and forth between being a heel and a face seamlessly.
Yeah.
Whenever making that transition and a ton of titles under his belt.
No, countless, man.
No.
You got the Gagne family.
Yep.
Vern Gagne was the patriarch of that family. He founded AWA, which was a big federation in the 80s in Minnesota, I believe. And where was that, Minnesota?
Yep.
Yeah. Flair was there for a little bit.
Yeah. Henning came out of there.
Henning, Scott Hall.
Yeah.
A lot of them came out
Rick
of there.
Rude.
Rick Rude. Yeah.
And his son Greg was also wrestling in the AWA. He didn't work near as good as he got a lot. You hear people talking all the time about him, about how he got a lot of the stuff that he got because his dad was Vern.
I believe it.
But I know he did a lot of, stuff too, in the AWA and stuff before Vince bought it or whatever ended up happening with that. But
that's you hear a lot of those wrestlers though from the late '80s, early '90s, and all that stuff. That Vern was the trainer for them and everything. He's the one that got them going in the business and all that stuff. He's probably the number one trainer at the time.
Yeah.
It's crazy to think of like all the guys that came up through that Minnesota territory
Oh,
that
man.
were Hall of Famers.
No, for sure. And you got the Colon family, Carlos Sr., founder of WWC in Puerto Rico. Carly Colon, which is Carlito, which I do remember Carlito from his WWF days with the apple and the wild hair and shit.
Now, is that where Bruiser Brody? Is that the?
I don't know if he was with wrestling for them or if it was someone else. I think it was
in Puerto
I think
Rico.
it was them. I think it was.
Cologne was there at that, so there was something. It may have been that.
Yeah, I think that's what.
Because Tony Atlas talks about talks about that in the Dark Side of the Ring episode,
absolutely,
and all that. So I was thinking that was the company that.
I think it was because I think they said something about Bruiser Brody was going down there because they owed him a big check. Yeah, and that's why he was going down there, for that check. But the Colognes, obviously Carlos, but then you had Carlito, was his which I'm guessing was his son. All three of these were his sons. Carlito, and then you had Primo and Epico, who were a tag team in WWE in the mid 2000s, early 2010s.
Yeah, never could catch on with a gimmick.
They never could.
Were they the Matadors or something like that?
They switched them up a bunch, and it was kind of one of those things where they just couldn't kind of get any foot under them.
But the only way I know Carlos Colon, I can just see, I can always see Carlos Colon because that motherfucker's forehead was like a fucking road map. Him and Bruiser were all those guys, and the Butcher,
Abdullah.
Yeah, all their foreheads look like freaking road maps.
Yeah,
from where they were cutting themselves so much.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
but yeah, that's a fun fact
for sure. Shout out to Fun Facts. Yeah. We'll do a few more of these. You got the Armstrong family. Which obviously Bullet Bob was the main man there, and then of course he had a few sons. He had Brad, Scott. So Scott Armstrong was the referee. I'm thinking, right, and then
yep,
yeah, and then Brad is the one that BJ always talks about that had all the different gimmicks in WCW, and then Steve. I don't know Steve.
I think he was in WCW.
Okay, and then Brian Armstrong is Road Dogg Jesse James.
Yep.
Who's, legendary, Hall of Famer, legendary wrestler, and he's creative
producer.
Or something, or producer now.
Is he still producing for them?
Yeah, I think he's still with WWE.
Is Pritchard still there?
Yes, as far as I know, he's still there.
Yeah. Well, that's cool.
Yep.
But the Armstrong family, I mean, is the most successful out of all those. Obviously, is Road Dogg.
Oh yeah.
But Bullet Bob back in the day was one of the dudes. You know what I'm saying? But that was just before our time.
Yeah.
And then you had the Briscoe family, which I mean, Jack and Jerry really is the extent of the Briscoe family. But two of the toughest dudes, bar none. Of course, everybody remembers Jerry Briscoe, at least in our generation, from being one of the flunkies of McMahon.
The Goons.
Which was some of the funniest television.
Oh, man.
Him and Pat Patterson. Rest in peace, Pat Patterson. I loved that shit, man.
Oh, it was great. I mean, it was like Albert and Costello in wrestling. Just the odd couple.
Definitely some Abbott and Costello shit.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
But it was just funny, dude. It was back when WWE, like, all bets were off and they did whatever they wanted.
Yeah, they could get away with everything.
Did birth hands and shit. Like
the ratings were through the roof. Everybody was tuning in on Monday nights.
Yeah, it's just what it was.
Yep.
And then you had the Jarrett family, which Eddie Marlin was the grandfather, was Jeff's granddad. And then, of course, you had Christine Jarrett, who I hear people talk about all the time, especially Jim Cornette talks about her, because she was a promoter. Was it Smoky Mountain, or what was it? Memphis.
I'm not sure where she was at,
but she was. I hear Jim Cornette talk about Christine Jarrett all the time, and of course you had Jerry Jarrett, which is Jeff's dad.
Yeah,
he's a promoter and co-founder of TNA, but he also did stuff with on WWF.
I think Memphis with Nick Goulas.
Yeah, so Memphis. So, and of course...
Yeah, because I remember they would, on some of those, they talk about driving from Memphis to Nashville, and then from Nashville, I think, somewhere in Kentucky on their runs and everything like that. But especially here in Middle Tennessee, the Jarrett family is probably the biggest name in Middle Tennessee wrestling.
Yep.
For sure.
Other than the
Lawler.
Yeah, other than the Lawlers, probably the biggest names in Tennessee wrestling.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then you gotta give Cornette credit too for the Smoky Mountain stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Now, did he create Smoky Mountain Wrestling?
I believe so, but I'm not 100% sure.
Okay, we're not known for the facts here.
No, we're not. We don't know what facts are.
We
But
just BS it along.
and then of course you have Jeff Jarrett, who, I mean, was WCW, WWF, TNA, held titles in all those. Resident of close to where we're at, still a really nice guy. I've met him a couple of times back when I used to work retail. He would come in. Really nice guy.
Yeah, I've heard nothing but great things about him. I've never ran across him, but I've heard he's just a solid, nice guy.
And the handful of episodes
Jim
I've watched
Cornette
Did he?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
The handful of episodes I've watched of his podcast, I really thought were cool too. And
Then he's still doing stuff with AEW, correct? Jeff?
Yes.
He's still is he
wrestling?
He's wow, it's crazy.
yeah, man.
And I think he's doing a lot of behind the scenes stuff also.
Hell yeah.
Yep.
And then you got the Rougeau family. Of course, you had Jacques Rougeau. Oh my God!
Say it one more time.
Jacques Senior.
Jacques.
And then, which I don't know anything about Jacques Senior, but I know Jacques Junior, which was the Mountie.
Yep.
And crazy enough, he had the IC title for a while. But his feud with Boss Man always sticks out to me when they go to jail. So ridiculous. And then you had Ray and Armand Rougeau. Armand wrestled briefly, but Ray Rougeau was, of course, Jacques. Before he was the Mountie, they had the Rougeau brothers tag team, him and Raymond.
Raymond.
But great, yeah. Shout out Raymond.
Raymond Blue.
Raymond Blue. But shout out to the Rougeaus, man. They were big in Canada, and
yeah, Raymond's just not a name I think of when I'm thinking of a Canadian.
No, me either. You got the Vachons. The Vachon family.
Yeah, the only one I knew about that
family
was Luna.
Yeah.
I knew Mad Dog just from seeing him in like clips from back in the day. Mad Dog Vachon. Butcher Vachon, I don't remember. He was the brother of Mad Dog, Maurice Vachon. But Luna, obviously, the daughter of Mad Dog Vachon, or the daughter of adopted daughter of Paul Vachon.
Yep.
So she was. I thought. See, all this time I thought she was Mad Dog's daughter.
Yeah.
But she was an adopted daughter of Paul.
Yep.
So well, you would have thought she came straight from them the way she acted.
Yeah.
She was with the shit.
Yeah.
R.I.P. Luna.
Yeah, she was. I was a huge fan of her just because the crazy side of her, because she was just totally different than Medusa.
No, for sure.
Her look was like no one else's, because you had all these primpy looking women, and then
you
there
had
she
Luna.
was. Yep.
Her episode on Dark Side of the Ring was dope too.
Yeah, I did. That's one I haven't seen. I do need to check that one out.
For sure. I'll tell you what we'll do. Let's do these next 3, and then we'll stop at 20.
Perfect.
All right.
20 families. Because there's another 7 or 8 listed, but we'll save them and add to it and do another part later.
That's perfect.
But you got the Steiners, which are legendary.
Oh yeah. One of the greatest tag teams of all time.
Of course, you had Rick and Scott.
Mm-hmm.
And their names are actually Robert Rex Steiner. Is that how you say that?
I think so.
Rex Steiner?
Rick Steiner.
Yeah, and then Scott and Rick, of course, the Steiner brothers, legendary tag team.
Steiner.
Yeah.
Punished the shit out of everybody.
They killed the people between them and LOD.
Yeah, and then, of course, Braun Breaker now is the son of Rick, which I've watched a few clips of him. He's a bad son of a bitch.
He's gonna be a superstar.
Oh yeah.
He's the next superstar coming up.
He's like it looks like a perfect combination of Rick Steiner and Scott Steiner.
Yeah, exactly.
That's crazy. That's terrifying.
And then I think they tried bringing him up to the main roster, I think, a little too quick, and they had to bring him back down to NXT, didn't they?
I think so.
Because he was just pushed a little too fast, but he'll get there. He's got all the makings of the next superstar for WWE.
Yeah.
Him and Austin Theory. I'm a big fan of Austin Theory. I think he's going to do big things as a heel in the future.
I think Vince was big on him, but I don't know how big Triple H is on him.
Yeah.
So next one we got the Poffo family, which obviously, Angelo Poffo, father of Macho Man Randy Savage and Leaping Lanny Poffo, was the genius.
Yep. Shout out to Macho Man for playing 6 years in the St. Louis Cardinals organization as a catcher.
Shout out to Macho Man, dude. One of the most iconic. Could you say the top 5 most iconic wrestling personalities?
Oh, by far. Yeah, some of the best clips that you can find.
Some of the best promos of all time.
Him and Mean Gene were a hell of a combo together
Yeah.
for those old clips.
We know who carried that, though, don't we, Chance?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Macho Man.
Jeez.
R.I.P. to Mean Gene and R.I.P. Macho Man.
Yeah, greatness.
And Leaping Lanny, of course, his characters were, it was like a thing where he was the curse of being Macho Man's brother, in the sense of Macho Man was so charismatic and such a huge figure. You can't get out of that shadow.
Yeah, it's
You know what I mean?
tough.
But Genius, I like the Genius gimmick. It was very dainty at the time. Like, it was really kind of weird at the time. It was kind of like the same thing with Adrian Adonis. It was that same style a little bit. But the Genius, and of course, R.I.P. Lanny Poffo, he passed away recently too, I think within the last year or so.
Yeah.
But the Poffo family's legendary. And I guess a good one to end on for this episode. Like I said, we'll come back later and add another 10 or 15 to the other list and get another 20.
Oh, yeah.
But the DiBiase family.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, the DiBiases, you obviously you had Iron Mike, who was $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase's stepdad. I remember the name Iron Mike DiBiase, but I don't know if I ever saw him wrestle.
I don't think I've ever seen clips of it. I've heard the name, like you said, I've heard the name before, but I've never seen anything wrestling-wise from him.
Yeah, and then you have, one of the most legendary gimmicks of all time, $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase.
Yeah, WWE's version of Ric Flair.
Yep.
That's all it was.
Yeah.
That's really all it was.
But what a cool gimmick.
It was- I mean,
he got to actually live that lifestyle.
Yeah, he got but he got the backing of it. Like, unlike Ric Flair, Ric Flair had to pay for all his stuff.
Yeah.
Vince was fitting the bill for $1 Million Man.
Yeah, because Vince, I think, wanted it to be. He wanted to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Because I remember one of my favorite Pritchard Show episodes is the $1 Million Man episode. It's early. It's one of the first probably 50 that they did. But he talks about that, about on the plane, about how much money they were spending and stuff, and to keep the gimmick going.
yeah. I mean, the man had his own belt made for him.
And it was so fire.
Yeah, that belt was clean.
He could talk, and of course now he's in the ministry now, and he goes and speaks at different places and stuff. So, and his son Ted Jr. Does he wrestle anymore?
He might be going to jail.
Oh, really?
Really?
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff around.
What did he do?
With involving money and
Oh God,
stuff
money
like that.
laundering. That's
Yeah.
not
Yeah,
good
that's
for
not
Ted
good.
Ted
Well,
Senior.
yeah.
Now I don't even know who Brett DiBiase is.
Yeah, I'm not sure of that
Is
one.
that
I believe that's one of their other
siblings
brothers.
or something?
Yep.
One of Ted's kids.
Yep.
But it says he was a former wrestler and producer, so maybe he was just kind of more behind the scenes. But I
Yeah.
don't really recall him. I do remember Ted Jr.
Yeah, I remember
and
him.
the gimmick with Cody and
And Orton, Randy Orton. What were they called? What was their
Legacy.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, Legacy. Shout out to the homie Legacy. Adams, show and prove, baby.
But I think DiBiase came in super young. Didn't he come in 18 or 19 years old when he first came?
Junior?
Yeah.
I think so.
He
Yeah,
was
young.
he was younger than Randy was. He was super young, fresh out of high school coming into the WWE.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
was young, man.
Yeah, Brett DiBiase might be in jail too. So
Okay, where they
Damn,
Yeah.
dude.
yeah.
Well,
They
they
got,
may be getting hit with
Yeah.
a Rico. Rico DiBiase.
Yikes.
But yeah, man, this was cool, man. Like the wrestling families, there's so many.
There's so
Like there's 8 on here we didn't even get to, and then there was probably another 10 that didn't even get added on here.
Yeah.
You know,
So this is gonna be a multi-episode escapade with wrestling families.
no, for sure. But comment below, man. Let us know what y'all thought of these. What families y'all want to see us kind of briefly talk about for the next one. We'll make sure BJ's on the next episode.
Yep.
But this was one that we did. We kind of had to call an audible because we had one planned. But with his schedule being what it is, we kind of had to Peyton Manning Omaha that shit.
Yeah, Omaha.
At the line of scrimmage.
We
But
make
hopefully
shit
y'all
happen.
enjoyed it. Yeah, y'all enjoyed it. And if you hadn't subscribed to the damn channel,
Please do us a
it.
favor.
Thank y'all for helping us hit 300 subscribers. I'm pretty confident to think that we're going to be able to hit that by a week from now.
Most definitely.
But y'all just keep hitting the subscribe, keep following us, leave comments, check out the shorts, comment on those. We're going to keep
Yep.
posting those for you. we're working on more content as well. We're going to finish out the year strong.
And coming up here soon, we have Chatty Bobby's birthday bash coming up in Franklin, Kentucky.
Absolutely.
Tickets, I'm sure you'll put the Eventbrite
Eventbrite
tab
link,
down below.
yep.
Oh, I know I'll be there. Chance, are you going to be there? Over the Top will
I'll
be in
be there.
attendance for this show and everything.
Hell
Come
yeah.
say hi to us, shoot the shit with us, and come celebrate this guy's birthday with us.
40 years old, man. I'm older than white dog shit. R.I.P. Wizzle.
R.I.P. Worm, man.
But thank y'all so much, man. This is we love being able to do this for y'all, and we appreciate that y'all appreciate it.
Yeah.
So
it means a lot that y'all are having the feedback that we're getting from these episodes because we're having a blast doing them, talking wrestling, talking movies. We got big episodes coming up for the rest of this month and the month of December. Yeah.
episode 50 is around the corner, man.
Almost 50 episodes.
I'm telling you, dude. You put your head down and go, and we haven't missed a week.
We haven't missed a week since I think our first episode was in March of this year, and we haven't missed a week since.
No, I mean no. We've put one out every single week. We've not missed.
Yeah, shout out to everybody that's helped us. Shout out Chance. Shout out Squints that's helped us along the way. Shout out y'all.
Shout out BJ and the Viz for coming in on episodes. We've got some guests planned for some future episodes that I think y'all are going to enjoy.
Yeah.
And shout out to Chance for,
building Studio Richardson.
Studio Richardson, man. And shout out to Trouble Spirits. Shout out to Nixon Pro Media, Revolution One Media.
And the Natural Disasters.
Y'all
this month. Was it too early? Was I premature?
You're good. No, I was just going to say subscribe again. Bam. Go ahead.
This motherfucker. Pow, pow, pow. I came in premature on that one.